Alrighty, it is the weekend and we have all the customer stuff pulled out of the shop and we are finally working on this black Dodge. This is what I picked up in the last video, guys. And I want to show you guys what I have started on it. I pulled the dash out of it. We didn't have any hot heat. The hot to cold selector was stuck. And I'll show you guys why it was stuck here in a second. But there was also a mice nest behind the glove box because the thing sat for so long. So I had to get all that cleaned up. And I'm about to steam clean the backside or the inside of the firewall real quick. And I'll show you guys the dash pulled out over here. I took the blower motor out. I got new AC evaporator core and new heater core. Obviously it's winter time, but I don't want to have to pull this dash again. So anyways, yeah, so this is the hot and cold selector right here, and this guy was stuck. So I was able to just spray some PB Blaster on that and free that up. So that was the main reason why we pulled the dash. And then obviously the mice issue. There were some mice in there, and there's all kinds of crap all over top of this box where they had their little nest. And the vents look clean, so I'm not gonna have to mess with the vents. There's not really a lot to these vents. It's just literally that passageway through there, and luckily they didn't get into any of that. So we are gonna be able to just steam clean the top of this, steam clean the bottom side of the heater core box. I just noticed it has a crack in it right there, which I'm not thrilled about. Just saw that. And new heater core, new evaporator core, reinstall this stuff. And yeah, wiring looks decent-ish on the dash. These trucks are kind of notorious for having some wiring issues. Seems like they fixed a lot of them in the later years, but I think these 12 valves definitely, I can see why. Just a lot of the connectors they use are different, older style connectors. And I think the wiring is just cheaper, to be honest with you guys. I've had the dash out of a lot of second gens, and this one is like 6 out of 10. Nothing's been messed with or spliced into really that bad. There's very minor splices or anything. It's just not like the elements, I guess you could say, have just kind of got to it. But anything that looked questionable, I will obviously clean up. And we're going to shop back the backside of this, steam clean all that, steam clean the top of this, put the box back together, and reinstall it in the truck. All right, guys, here's what it looks like. Still kind of some dirt smeared around, but I'm just really not gonna try and go crazy to clean up that, considering you're never gonna see it. But all right, guys, today's video is once again sponsored by Top Don. I received a Top Don Phoenix Plus around a month ago, and I've been using it pretty much every day, if not every other day in the shop, guys, doing repair on these diesel trucks. It has been a tremendous help. It has been able to help us speed up our process a lot more, diagnosing trucks, getting them repaired, and getting them back to the customer. Overall, it's saving us a lot of time, and I really think you guys should check these out. I'm gonna leave a link to them in the description. For the money, I don't think you can beat it. These things will do so many different things. I'm still learning on it, but like I said, guys, this thing is just, they knocked it out of the park on this one. They also have the RD Diag, which is the first scanner that we received from Top Don, and we really like that one. But for more of the technical diagnostic issues and how in depth we have to get on the diesel pickups, especially the newer ones, it's really handy to have a nice high-end scanner like this one. So I do want to give a shout out to Top Don once again for sponsoring today's video, and be sure you guys check out their website. I'm going to leave a link to the description of this video. But for now, let's get back into the video, guys. I got that all cleaned up and ready to go back together. So tomorrow I'll have to get someone's help and have them help me set the dash back in it. But HVAC box is all cleaned up and ready to go. Under the hood, I got the I did remove the silencer ring off the turbo, so the silencer ring on it. Got that removed. While we had then take off, clean the air filter, got the PCM mounted back where it goes, and we got the AC lines plugged back in. And it came with new O-rings, the evaporator core did, but I may actually redo the rest of the AC system. Since I did the evaporator core, I may do a new pump, a new condenser, and then the 2 new lines, and a new dryer. It just doesn't make sense to me to do the hardest thing to change and not change the other pieces. So I don't know yet. It didn't have very much refrigerant in it whenever we vacked it out, so I don't really know yet. If it'll pass a vac test, I may try and charge it, but if not, I'll just redo the rest of the system, but I did get the caps on it and get it sealed up for now. Heater core hoses are hooked back up, filled it back up with coolant. So tomorrow, need some help and put the dash back in. And I mean, I'm pretty confident it's gonna have heat now. Brand new heater core and got that blend door fixed. So that's the one that was stuck, guys. If your cable gets froze up and you know it's not the cable, on the bottom side, the rod actually sticks through. So you could take like a pair of pliers and get on the bottom side and break it loose. I could have got away with that probably, but considering the mouse nest that was chilling on top of the heater core and wanting to check everything else out behind the dash to make sure there was no mice nest, I just didn't want to do that. So I pulled it out. New heater core, new evaporator core, took this all apart, cleaned the insides of it out. So it still has a little bit of dirt, like I said, on the firewall, but we will put it back in. And I am gonna have to run vacuum lines. I need to get a kit, but I think I can do it because I can get to all the actuators without having to pull the dash. You got one right here, one right here. Those are easily accessible. And then the one over here, this is for the recirc. So right now it is going to be stuck on, it's gonna pull outside air in and it's gonna be stuck on defrost, as you can see there. So the only one that will work is hot and cold. And then, like I said, all those vacuum lines are completely smoked. So I'll have to see if I can find a kit. I'm not gonna try and figure out and make individual lines. If I can just find an entire kit to run new vacuum lines to this, I will make it work. But yeah, so there we go. We will have hot heat. Like I said, just be stuck on defrost, but we can work with that. And yeah, so dash back in and good to go. All right, guys, it is now the next morning. And as you can tell my voice, I sound tired, but I've been cleaning up some of the wiring. This goes up to the column, and I repaired a couple of the wires, taped them all up, and I'm just trying to get everything cleaned up as good as I can. The only like non-factory wires that I've been able to find is, obviously we have wiring for the gauges. Looks like they tapped into something on the radio. You guys get the point there. That shoots up the pillar. This pin, I'm about to find out what it is here in a second, but it's a black wire with a yellow tracer. I feel like it's something for the stock trans, but I'm not totally sure, being an auto. But I did have to cut this stuff to get it out the way they had it routed. They had the dash out before of this truck. So anyways, like I said, so these two wires are not factory, which connect here and here. And then this is not factory. So that's really the only thing that's been altered, which isn't too bad. Like I said, I'm going through, I'm kind of taping up some of the wiring just to kind of clean it up some and keep it from like any loose ends and stuff like this. I'm taping up just because, for one, it'll make it easier to put it back in whenever everything's not all twisted up. I mean, this is pretty simple here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You got maybe a dozen plugs, which isn't really that big of a deal. All right, guys, dashboard is back in. Everything is buttoned back up. Just need to sweep the floor out. Look at the cracks we put in her, guys, taking her out. Put a big crack in right there, crack right there. A couple small ones over on that side. It's pretty much impossible, though, in my opinion, to get an old brittle dash out without at least putting one crack in it. But we didn't put any holes in it, and there's no missing pieces. It's still rock solid. So we're going to roll with it, guys. Everything's working. You know, pretty much all that stuff. Everything's ready to go. Just need to sweep out the interior. Got some dirt and stuff on the seats from leaning on them. I want to show you guys, this thing has a weird wiring issue. And if you guys are into technical side of things, I want you guys to watch this part. It's going to be pretty interesting. So to start with, I'm going to grab this piece of paper. Where is it at? Right here. This is a printout showing some of the wiring on the truck. But basically, the issue I have with this truck right now is the key's off, windows roll down. Blower motor still turns on. So we obviously want to know why it's doing that. And the first thing you'll notice, if you take the inside power distribution panel cover, fuse box, whatever you want to call it, off, you'll notice, oh, and you'll drop your light. You'll notice a jumper wire from that green fuse right here to this fuse up here. Now this is windows, power windows, and this is blower motor. Obviously, you know, that kind of told me, okay, something's going on there. So you guys can try to follow me, like I said, if you're interested in this. If not, I don't know. Maybe some of you guys will have an interest in this. So this green fuse, I have power through it and going back out of it. this metal fuse, which this one should probably be a metal fuse too, has no power in or out. And like I said, so looking at it, this is the metal fuse on the right. This is the green fuse on the left. So I have power going through here. I don't have power over here, but when I jump power from here to here, this will all work. So basically we checked continuity from when we had the dash out, from this connector to the fuse panel. We had good continuity there. Checked continuity. So that would tell you that basically all this is good. We checked continuity from the connectors to the where they actually plug in, like right here. There's another connector that goes into the dash behind that. We had continuity good on both of those, and we basically traced it back more or less to being an issue inside. You can see it says blower motor relay in power distribution panel right there in parentheses. So we traced it back to actually being this power distribution panel being the issue. So there's no relay for it. It's actually made in, we think it's made into the power distribution panel. So I do have another 12 valve. I'm going to switch this out and then just put regular fuses back in those and see if it fixes it. If you guys were able to follow that at all, let me know what you guys think, if you think I'm right or wrong. It's just kind of weird. So like for instance, that jumper wire, both of them work, key on or off. You take it out, neither of them work. Alrighty guys, we got the dash back in the truck and we managed to only put a couple cracks in it. I put a crack in it right here, put two over there, and then there's one right here that you can't hardly see. And I turned the, got the heat working now, so we have hot heat. It is stuck on defrost because all the vacuum lines are smoked. So I may fix that. I mean, for me guys, I only use defrost and I only use defrost, and in the summertime, I just use the air conditioning out of the vents, and it's literally the actuator for it's right there. So I can just literally zip tie it down. I know it seems kind of like just taking a shortcut, but I just don't really know if I care enough to put all new vacuum lines on it. That way I can put it on the floor and everything. I just don't really care. I'm just being honest with you guys. So coolant temp, may or may not need a thermostat. I am going to put some cardboard in between the radiator and the intercooler to help it, or in front of the radiator to help it kind of stay warm like a cold front. Just cut a nice piece of cardboard for it. Because 12 valves run really, really cool. Like it takes them forever to warm up. It takes them, like just driving down the road, they'll just, in the wintertime, they just don't like to stay warm. Radio is working, shift boots all back in. Gauges are hooked back up over here. Everything is going pretty smooth as far as the install part of things, but I have noticed a fuel leak. I have a fuel leak at the fuel filter housing somewhere. I just sprayed off with brake clean and I'm sitting here because I don't want this thing to run in the shop. It stinks really bad, and I think it's the old diesel. Like it smells so nasty out the exhaust when this thing runs. I dumped a gallon of automatic, or not a gallon, like 2 quarts of automatic transmission fluid in the diesel to kind of just try to, basically treat it a little bit. You can use automatic transmission fluid. It's just really old. But as soon as I can get a new fuel filter on it, fix that fuel leak, I'll go fill it up. But I don't want to go fill it up and then be chasing a fuel leak. So yeah, everything's working great, guys. I mean, the windows, I still got to figure out that. I told you guys a little bit about that. And the blower motor. If you guys have any suggestions for that, leave a comment down below. Every time I turn the heat on, it's definitely blowing some of the foam out around where the gauges go, or it's definitely blowing some of the foam out around where some of the vents went. But we're just kind of just trying to get this thing ready to go. I want to start driving it this week, get a license and insurance on tomorrow. So yeah, that kind of explains where I'm at with it. I just wanted to get it roadworthy, and the heat was the main thing. I can't drive without heat. That's fixed, so now it's just time to service it and make it to where it's good to go, because the oil in it looks like trash. Honestly, shouldn't be running right now, but it's a 12 valve, they don't really care. So, yeah, we're gonna do an oil change, fix the fuel leak, and start driving it basically. So you guys have it. Interior's back together. The back seats are also stuck up. If anyone has, like, everything in this truck, like anything that can happen when a truck sits, like stuff gets stuck, it's happened. So if anyone has any suggestions or anything, comments down below on the back seat. All right, guys, we're gonna look at this oil together and see what it looks like. Camera's being a freaking pain, but Let's see what the oil looks like. 3 years old. Oh yeah. Can't even hardly get it out, so hot. Normally they don't leak like that, it's weird. Oh my God, I'm roasting my hand. Oh, okay, all right, I gotta stop, I'm gonna hurt myself. I want to get it all the way out, but maybe I can do this. There we go. There it goes. We'll get it with a magnet. It's not that bad. It's just pretty sludgy. Probably could have got away with it for a little bit, but it doesn't really feel like normally used oil. It just feels extra sludgy. All right, guys, we're gonna have to take bets. That oil filter is really hard to get off. Let's see if I can do it one-handed. Oh, no, coming right off. Perfect. All right, we're also going to change the fuel filter, and the reason why mainly is because, for one, it's old, and for two, it's leaking, and it comes with new seals to reseal the little canister. So that little nut right there in the very center of the screen on the top of the canister, basically we'll take that loose, get the fuel filter out, and have to unplug a couple things. But that will basically allow us to change the canister out, because for one, it needs change. We'll probably pick up a little power if I had to guess, just because how old it is. And it's leaking. It's leaking, so it's leaking on the back, and we need to get that fixed. This engine just has a nasty smell. Like I said, guys, I found a bunch of mice nests inside the dash. We got that taken care of. But if you just run this engine and get it hot, it just stinks. So I need to keep running it to burn all that smell off. I think it's just where like the mice, like there was a little nest right here in front of the injector, like all this stuff is just covered in, you know, like there was mouse crap on everything. So we're slowly working on getting the smell gone, because I can't deal with that. It'll give me a headache. For one, it's not healthy to be around it. Like mouse pee is extremely nasty and feces, but we want to make it like it never happened. Guys, we went with some Mobil 1540 just because that's what they had on sale at Rural King, and a Fram filter. So got our oil in for the most part there, and we're gonna change this fuel filter, and we will fire it up and drive to the gas station. So we will take it to the gas station, get some diesel, and probably dump some more automatic transmission fluid in the fuel tank. And then I might let this thing idle all day just to kind of get everything circulated, get everything, all the hot parts moving, get this thing really, really, really up to temp with how cold it is, and just let it idle all day, literally. I'll be able to check for leaks that way. And yeah, like I said, I still need to get my cardboard piece made here for the front. I'm gonna run a piece of cardboard in here to help this thing warm up, because of the cold temperatures here in Indiana right now. It's like in the teens. These things don't really like to stay warm. I don't think I have a thermostat issue, but I may. But we will tackle that later on if we need to. But for now, I'm just gonna run a cardboard cold front. And yeah, so let's change this fuel filter. I'm gonna get it apart, get it on the bench, and change the O-rings. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Alrighty, guys. Got the fuel filter housing out. Easiest way to get it out is through this pocket right here. Come through here. It's kind of tight. Be careful. Brake lines are old and questionable. You want to be careful not to bend those. So we got the old one there in the parts washer. I'm gonna get this one opened up. Pretty sure it came with all the little seals. Yeah, I need to reseal this canister. So there's a seal here. There's a seal here. There's a seal here. And then I think it came with everything. Look at that. Oh my gosh, it's filthy. A lot of sediment in there. So we'll blow that out real good with some brake clean, and we'll get this thing all resealed here. All right, guys, we got 3 O-rings we gotta change. This one goes here, where my finger's at. This one goes on the outside of the top of the filter right there, and then this one goes on the outside, or inside top of the filter. The last one, this one goes on the outside. Get all those put in. First one, blow that out. All that sediment falls into the bottom. I bled it out to what I think is the best I can do without cracking the injection line. So let's see if it'll start with that air pocket. That's going to wrap up the little series we did today on the 12 valve. This thing drives, it just blows me away how nice the steering is on it. For all the other small issues we had to battle, and this thing does drive really nice. It tracks straight, and like, look at this, guys. I mean, it literally drives like a third or fourth gen does, that is in good shape, and I'm just really impressed with it. So yeah, we're taking her, we're gonna put some fuel in her, and that is pretty much gonna wrap up the end of this little series on it. Next, we'll probably start working on some more of the interior, doing a radio, and I want to get new tires for it. We did, so today we did evaporator core, or in this video, evaporator core, heater core, oil change, fuel filter, and then cleaned everything behind the dash, obviously, but we also fixed some of the wiring like I told you guys. But yeah, so hope you guys enjoy, and be sure to subscribe.